I'd like to begin today by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land in which we're meeting on today, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, as well as the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. We both pay our respects to elders past and present. Today I have the wonderful Emma Harvie with us. Congratulations on your CGA Rising Star nomination.
Thanks. It's an honour.
Oh, well, fantastic, because, I mean, we really do think you are so fantastic, and which is very reflective of a very impressive last couple of years. Of course, you know, we've seen you in Colin from Accounts, Frayed, In Limbo, RDFS. Your star is well and truly rising at a rapid rate.
Oh.
How's that trajectory been for you over the last couple of years? How's that felt?
It feels good, I guess. When you say them all in one short sentence, it sounds more impressive than it probably feels to me. It's like,
of course,
years ago, and then I was unemployed for 6 months, and then blah blah blah.
Well, Colin from Accounts was definitely one of my favourite shows of 2022, particularly your character as well. In terms of just the experience with the show itself, how was that for you?
Oh, I had the best time. It's really fun being on a set of a comedy. It's just a different vibe. Everyone's like, it's your literal job to try and make people laugh and to have a good time. Like, it's really important that the energy is good and everyone feels comfortable and so they can do their thing. And Harriet and Patrick, who star in it and wrote it, were just an absolute pleasure. So everyone was having a really good time on set, and you could kind of feel that you were on something that might be good. I mean, I'm a terrible judge of when I read a script. Even if I'm laughing, I can't tell. I go, yeah, it could be good. It could also not be. So when we were making it, I was like, oh, I think this is actually a good one.
Yeah, great. I mean, I feel like it always helps when, like, the crew is laughing along as well, right? You're like, cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, how was working alongside Patrick Brammall and Harriet Dyer when they were both wearing, I guess, creator and actor hats? Does that impact the way that you navigate your relationship with them on set?
I guess so. I didn't know either of them before working with them on this show. I'd obviously seen their work and, like, heard about them. But I think day one, I was shooting day one, scene one with Harry, and a little bit later in the day we were doing a scene where we were at the hospital and we're just talking, the two of us, and it became clear to me how open they are to, like, improvising, which I don't know, I wasn't expecting it. And they were like, maybe try something different here or do this. And I was like, okay, this is how we're going to do this. So that was a little bit thrown in the deep end. I was like, okay, cool, let's try and think of some other stuff on the spot. But they were so great.
Does that come naturally to you in terms of that improv on the spot, or do you prefer to be reading the script?
I prefer to be reading the script. I mean, if I knew, I guess if I then for the rest of the season, I was like, okay, come in with, like, some other ideas. But it's not supernatural to me. I think, like, improvising as yourself is one thing, and then, like, improvising in character is another thing. But it was really fun having them on set when they weren't in the scene as well. So if they weren't acting in the scene, they were generally on set with the director.
RFDs, right? You're filming out on location in Broken Hill.
Yes.
Yeah, and you're also filming alongside day-to-day operations of the actual RFDs. Is that true? Yes. Yeah. What's that like?
It's a crazy idea by the showrunners, because they have a real base. There's kind of two bases. There's an old hangar that's kind of used as part of the, like, museum tour thing now, which is not people still go in and out of there, but they're not really taking the planes in and out of there. There's a separate hangar where the planes come in and out of. However, attached to the old hangar, which we use, is a clinic that they do use. So when they're flying in patients, they need to be able to get in there. And there have been occasions where we were shooting on the tarmac, I think, and they went, nah, sorry, there's a real patients coming in, like, get out. And then we would just kind of go and sit down for an hour or whatever. I can't remember what we did that day, but that definitely does happen.
That's so interesting. And obviously that is something that the showrunners and the production account for in the scheduling, I guess.
I guess so. I mean, I think we may have had to shift a few things around. They're incredibly lucky to have the space that they do to film in, that the RFDS, is so cooperative and are happy to let us shoot in their real offices and things like that. Though we have dressed them to look more like TV offices, I guess. I did it's like a tour you can do at the RFDS base, and I did that when I went to Broken Hill. And I didn't say that I was in the show, and the lovely tour guide was talking about the offices, and she was like, they don't usually look like this. They've just dressed them to make them look more officey or whatever. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Then real officers don't look that dressed, or like, I don't know.
A little bit more stripped back.
Yeah. But they are big supporters of the show. So we couldn't make it without them. And it's all their stories as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's, very, very cool. Yeah, so you're on location in Broken Hill. Are you there? Are you staying in Broken Hill for the entire shoot period?
Yeah, I stayed for 3 months. I think I came back to Sydney once for about 4 days. But otherwise, I was there the whole time. Flights were really expensive as well. I mean, I think it's just post-COVID. It was like over $1,000 to fly to Sydney from Broken Hill. So most people were there the whole time unless they were working. Some of the actors had other jobs, so they were flying in and out. But, yeah, it was kind of like we were there for the long haul. It was I had a great experience.
Yeah, because it's an interesting. I haven't been to Broken Hill, but I know it's a very amazing community there. Did you sort of make a bit of a nest? Did you sort of? Do you want to go back to Broken Hill?
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely want to go back. I think everybody else as well, because I joined season 2. All of the cast that had done season 1 were there filming at the height of COVID, season 1, so they weren't allowed to. I think actually they were allowed to like go out to pubs and stuff in Broken Hill, whereas you weren't allowed to do that anywhere else in Australia or in New South Wales at least. But it's a great community, and every Wednesday we go to karaoke at the Palace Hotel, which is like the hotel that's in Priscilla. And it's such a it's unlike anything I've ever seen before. That you have very, very varying levels of singing talent, but it really doesn't matter. And everyone is so supportive, and you've got a mix of like Broken Hill regulars and then like travelers coming through. Then you had our like film crew team. It was just it's a great vibe. Like I think we went almost every Wednesday for 3 months. Like that's a lot of karaoke.
That's amazing. Do you have a go-to karaoke song?
Yeah, my go-to is Bruce Springsteen, Dancing in the Dark.
Great choice. Growing up, was there a key moment in your life that sort of, started you on your journey to being an actor? Or is it just sort of always been there?
I think there was a key moment. Maybe there were like a couple of key moments when I think about it, but I always loved performing as a kid, and I did like dancing, and I think Mum could tell, so she'd put me in like acting classes for kids, but they were kind of weird. I wasn't really into that. But I remember doing like Toad of Toad Hall at school and like dressing up as a toad or whatever. And I thought that was so fun. Like just dressing up and being silly. And my teachers would be like, "Oh, Emma's really good at she should do drama," which I did, and I loved drama. And then we didn't have a super strong drama department at my high school. Like I think it was more academic focused, but so we'd do plays and things, but it was an all girls school. So I feel like I played every age and like differing genders before I was 18. Like I was always playing an old man. That was kind of I was typecast as an old man in high school. But I think I did I did a monologue for my HSC individual performance, and
as an old man.
I wasn't an old man, but I wrote it, and I wrote myself a male character. So I often think about that. That's so strange. I was a traffic controller. It was a monologue about a traffic controller, and I got nominated for on stage. I didn't get to do the actual thing, but it was also the first. I was like a pretty good student, good girl, and it was the first time I ever wagged a class. Was when our teacher, like the head of whatever, I think she was a vice principal, she was coming to my extension German class, which I was meant to be in, but me and my
extension German sounds very intense.
I was really good at German, but we didn't like our teacher. Me and my friend Phil were like, let's just not go. And we didn't go. We didn't like leave school. We just didn't go to our class we were meant to go to. And then the vice principal found us and was like, Emma, what are you doing? You're meant to be in class. And I was like, oh my God, this is the only time I've ever like skipped a class, and the vice principal is here. And then she was like, you need to go to the office. And I had to go to the office, and I thought I was getting in big trouble. And it was my drama teacher being like, you've been nominated for on stage. I was like, what's that? So then I was like, oh, cool. Maybe like I can do acting as a thing, because I didn't know if I was any good at it. I was like, I just like doing it and it's fun. I didn't have anyone in my life that had kind of followed a creative career path though. So my mum and I were like, yeah, like I'm good at acting. Let's do it. But we also didn't think that you could make a career out of it.
Yeah. Especially
in, whatever year that was. And someone who looked like me from like Australian TV and film, I was like, that doesn't exist. So we were like, I'll go to uni and like do something else. And then like you do acting on the side.
Is there anything that you sort of have to deal with emotionally in those spaces in between gigs? Or, do you have the feeling I'm never going to work again? I mean, I do.
Yeah, definitely.
How do you combat those sort of feelings?
It's a good question. I probably don't always deal with them in the way that I should. I have conversations with lots of actor friends I have about this a lot. I think you've got to just find things that make you happy that have nothing to do with acting, and make sure you keep them in your life. And if you do have, like, a lot of my friends are actors, and finding ways to connect with each other that are not about the industry and not about work or auditions. I think during COVID, I was like to my agent, maybe I'll give it like one more year. And if nothing exciting happens, like I'm fine without it. Because I guess in like 2020, when everything shut down and nobody was working unless you were lucky and you're on season 1 of RFDs, no one was working in Australia. And I was kind of like, this is great. I was like, there's no pressure to hustle. There's no like impending doom of like, I haven't had a job in this many months. I felt quite relieved in that time. As an actor, it's hard to plan a holiday even, because unless you've got work lined up and you go, oh great, there's a gap in between here and here, let's do it. It's hard because you're meant to be available and
of course the holiday that you book, the very expensive holiday with the expensive flights and all the things, and then all of a sudden you get a dream job which is great.
Book a holiday. Yeah. But yeah, so it was kind of like a forced holiday those lockdown times, which I really enjoyed. I mean, obviously there was a lot of shit happening, but
If you weren't an actor, that was just completely off the table, what would you be doing?
Oh, well, if I had to draw on my current skills, it wouldn't look very promising. But I think I would do like an apprenticeship in carpentry or something. I would love to do something where I'm using my hands.
Yeah, great. That's all we need to do today. I feel like I was ending that like it was a audition.
That's all we need from you. We've got it. Thank you.
Thank you. That's enough. You've covered everything. It was really nice. Thank you for your time. Thank you for speaking with me today. It was very fun.